All right, let's see. Let's see. All right, it is. I think we should be kicking it right about now. All right, cool, cool. Hey, how's it going? Welcome back to the XT Cast. This is your host with the most, Marcos, and today I got a pretty cool friend all the way from the cool beautiful weather in Vancouver, Canada. Right now in Dubai, it is freaking hot. It's humid. But thank goodness in Dubai, we got some advanced ACs. So I can wear the suit jacket in the office and not sweat like crazy. So, hey, Arvin, is good to have you here at the XT Cast. Welcome, sir.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, yeah. I'm glad you're taking the time. I know it's early in the morning, but I got to bring you to the XTcast. As you know, it's the official podcast of XT.com, and XT.com is not just a crypto exchange. We are more than an exchange. We got a lot of things happening, a lot of advanced financial services, and also we also started, an NFT marketplace, a centralized and decentralized, a SEX and a DEX. So of course, I have to bring someone to talk about NFTs and non-fungible tokens for all the new people who are watching this episode. So Arvin Khamseh, he is not just some regular guy I found in the interwebs. This guy has helped artists and brands to launch and sell out their NFTs, and he has a long history when it comes to marketing, and also he has worked with big corporates in Canada, and I would say like in North America in general. But he also has made a strong foundation, a name in the NFT space, and he has worked on almost like 400 NFT projects and more. So, and plus he also has if I remember correctly, the company he owns and founded is called Sold Out NFTs, and two of the largest NFT projects he to date he has worked which are amazing successes: Women of Crypto and San Vegas Casino Club. So I mean, I have to bring this guy in. So can we talk about NFTs, bro?
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah, and just kind of like I guess fellows for the projects that I work with. So some projects I work with past their sellout. Some projects I just work with them until they sell out, and past that I don't really know. What's happening too much about
Mhm.
them. But yeah, I have definitely worked with 400 plus NFT projects, and I continue to work with lots of them.
All right, cool, cool. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So before we just dive into NFTs, actually, I would love for you to share your origin story. How did you get into crypto and the blockchain and also NFTs? And yeah, and then let's kind of like free flow uh, in this
Sounds
conversation.
good. Yeah, so back in 2016, 17-ish, really good friend of mine, Nick, he sold everything he had and he bought a lot of Bitcoins. And that kind of raised my eyebrows on like, okay, what on earth is Bitcoins and what is cryptocurrencies? And it was also very interesting because he was just so bullish about cryptos. This guy was like working 9 to 5 and then he sold his car. He like spent all his saving, and
Hmm.
he was just so passionate about it. And
Yeah.
I was just thinking like he's either crazy or there's definitely something in there. And then it just so happened to be like there was obviously something in there. And then about a few years later, so I learned about crypto and I just like kind of just looking into it and not heavily investing in it at all, but and then up until about 2021, where I sold out a collection of one of one with an Italian artist,
All right.
and I I realized like everything I've done up until that point, and I was still working with public companies for the investor relationship marketing at that point. I realized
Okay.
everything I've done with them, it was transferable into the NFT marketing. And then
Interesting.
so I put up a literally like a post on a bunch of socials and said, hey, this is something I will do. Like I just sold out a collection,
Hmm.
and I can help out with NFT marketing if anyone needs it. I didn't think much of it, but then
Yeah.
I had so many people reached out just because the experience I had in paid advertising. You know, I was managing like 500K a month paid advertising for public companies,
Right.
and then also I worked with some cool startups and some cool public companies, and so lots of people came in, and we had actually a lot of sellouts as well. Now, this is granted, this is 2021, 2022. Having lots of sellouts is not a thing, but
Yeah.
back in 2021, obviously, it was just the best time. And then everything we were doing, like almost we were selling out. And so that was my beginning. And then, I've actually gotten to see like how the NFT marketing, the NFT, I guess, the NFT industry as a whole has
Hmm.
changed since 2021, and
Yeah.
now like Q1, Q2 of 2022.
Yeah, yeah. Because the last time I talked to you, on my personal podcast, the Cryptocosm. So, I mean, to me, it was really enlightening for me, like to understand the world of NFTs, like because I wasn't like deep dive into it, but I would kind of like watch it from a distance. But I guess in terms of the way what you mentioned, the way people are marketing NFTs, I think it's totally changed now, right? I think there's way more competition. Um, I guess the question I actually really want to ask you is like, has the quality of NFTs has risen up quite a bit, like, or 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 are we just seeing a lot of like pixelated
Cash
pictures and
grabs.
stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's interesting because about I want to say November 20. So just kind of give a timeline context for people. So October 2021, that's when Mark Zuckerberg created a video talking about metaverse, right? So that started that
yeah.
conversation on a deep, like a lot larger level about
Hmm.
metaverse and then also NFTs. And then November 2021, that's when Facebook or Meta, they opened up their advertising platform for NFTs.
Yeah,
And then the I want to say end of November, maybe beginning of December. That's when the search inquiries, the number of search inquiries for NFTs actually surpassed cryptocurrencies, which has been around, since almost like
yeah,
2009. And
right,
so,
yeah,
which is very interesting, right? So all of a sudden, there's just a lot more attention to NFTs. So that also wasn't a good thing in a way because a lot of projects that came to be, they were really just there to just for an additional source of income, basically, not
yeah.
really they didn't have any I guess juice like in the utility. It wasn't. It was
Hmm.
just a lot of copycats of each other, whether it be
Okay,
the
yeah.
names. So obviously, like the derivatives of good projects, but whether it be the names, the art, the utilities, everything was just very similar. And
Hmm.
this is somewhere around like December, and then it went on until January, I want to say, and then by February, we started just kind of seeing like way too many projects coming out. So it was like at some point it was 500 projects a day that were just entering the market.
Wait,
Um,
what?
yeah, yeah,
Fuck.
yeah, yeah.
Okay,
That
whoa,
many.
okay. Sorry, I apologize. That threw me off. I'm so sorry.
Yeah,
That's a lot. That's
yeah, yeah. And then, which is like, I think a big portion of it was people in e-commerce. They realized they're like, wait, we know how to run ads. We know how to create landing pages. We can
right.
make a good copy. And then we'll just get someone from Fiverr or Upwork, just, create some 10,000 NFTs. And then we get an assistant to do some of these admin work, and then this will be just like an additional, like it's literally just like another like product we'll just like launch, right?
Hmm.
And so I think there was
Wow.
that. And then there were a lot of people who were just like never on the internet, but then they were like, wait, look, everyone's making millions of dollars. Why aren't we doing this? And they were right. Like there were a lot of people making millions of dollars. And so so then a lot of people got in for the wrong reasons, basically,
Sure. Yeah.
and they didn't have a way to actually delivering on their roadmaps. They didn't even think about it. Like it was so bad where I was talking to a lot of people now. So at this point, utility and delivering on promises is an actual conversation. Back then,
Hmm.
it was more just like, hey, how soon can we sell out? Like that's all we were talking about, right?
Right. Yeah.
And so then the result of that was a lot of projects didn't actually deliver on their promises. So the NFT
True.
community, the Web3 community, became very jaded, and so
Right.
including myself, like I've been dropped a few times, and so
Wow.
there's the I guess the sentiment of the market that changed from like trusting it so much to not
Hmm.
trusting it at all, which is like the
Yeah.
current state kind of right now. And
Yeah.
then the type of like the marketing also changed because initially we had so few projects where influencers could talk about projects, but then imagine if I'm an influencer and I talk about 100 projects this month, at some point you'd be like, okay, well, which project is good? Like there's so many projects you just talked about, right? So then the
Yeah.
influencer marketing doesn't have its own like its previous value as it had, and so things have started changing, right? So
Hmm.
and very
Yeah.
rapidly too, and of course all the way until Luna crash happened, and then the crypto dropped, and then
Yeah.
a lot of NFT projects were just went down with it. Like it's just like the not necessarily like they were using the specific they were like on Ethereum or Solana, but it's still like everything together they just went down, and then it was good. Like it was a correction in the market. It was good
Hmm.
in a sense that a lot of these projects. So I remember even like I went and surveyed about 1,000 people who contacted me for their NFT projects. Somewhere around 1,000. These people were in my DMs for like a few months. And then I asked them, I was like, hey, so how did your collection go? How are you doing with your collection? Right around like, I want to say a week or two after the Luna crash. And majority of them, I want to say 80%, 90% of them, they just said, we completely given up. Like, we're not going to do this. Which is
Wow. Yeah.
which is representative of like what happened. Then a lot of projects, they were just like, this is not for us. We thought we're just going to come in, make a bunch of money, but this looks like this is an actual business. This is not a hobby anymore, right?
Yeah. Right.
And
Yeah.
so that opened up the space for projects that are very strong, or projects that they want to have innovation to just come in.
Hmm.
And so now I'm looking at projects where they even deliver on their promises before they sell out. So now we're going in a very different direction. So
Wow. Okay.
previously, it was like, let's say I would, as a founder, I would come in and just say, hey, I have these ideas that I want to deliver. You as the
Hmm.
user, give me a bunch of money, and then I will eventually deliver on my promises. God knows when,
Hmm.
or how,
Yeah.
but I will deliver. Now we're going that direction where VCs, for example, or people just from their own like pockets, maybe deep pockets, they're putting upfronting the cost of delivering on promises, and
Hmm.
then they ask people for money. And part of it is
Yeah.
just because most people are just holding back their so many people they didn't deliver, so how
Yeah.
do we know you're going to deliver? So that's the very big change, right? So now a lot of
Right.
projects with big money, a lot of projects with innovations, with like real
Hmm.
utilities, they found a place and they know they're going to do well because all these other projects just come going out.
Yeah, no, I think that's a good thing. Like, honestly, I'm glad that this bear market is here. This, how you want to call? I know some people like to call it crypto winter, but I think it is needed. I think there has to be a just major correction, especially the NFT space. Not that familiar. I know you are, but like, I felt like there was so much of like these crazy projects. It didn't make any sense, not real utility whatsoever. I think the weak hands or crooked hands has been flushed out. But I think personally for me, this bear market is actually the best time to have like real tech, real projects, real development, and like real value. And I can see like NFTs can make a comeback, but it'll be transformed. It's going to be stronger, better teams, better projects, real value. So I'm kind of curious to ask you, in this, usually in the bear market, the best tech will always come. Usually they come out from the bear market. So last year we got the Board 8 yacht clubs, right? Uh, do you think we can see another project or projects that will do much better than the Board 8 yacht clubs, or is Board 8 just an anomaly in the crypto space?
Yeah, so I think the concept that if we just all accept that there's not going to be anything better, then we will never improve. And so there's definitely a need for projects to have the boldness, have the courage to become better than the best. And I'm certainly um, myself looking to break that. Um, what's the norm, or what's the
Yeah.
what's been said to be the best, and obviously Bored Apes just they made a lot of money. They made a lot of they've got a really good traction,
Yeah.
and I think, and I really believe, um, projects could come in and do even better, even if it's in the
Okay.
bear market.
Hmm.
And so going off that, I and a bunch of other people, we actually sat down and we created and just came from an idea where we were like, okay, what if we could do everything that's out there and just take it to the next level, and just do it a lot better, not necessarily just making an improved version of something that's just great, but what if we could
Yeah.
make an improved version of the entire industry, like what's something that's not been done before. And
Okay.
so obviously that comes with a lot of a lot of cost, to be able to get to that level. And
Yeah.
so what I found is so one of the things I've done, for example, for myself, is I actually, as a company who sold out NFTs, partnered up with a VC. So a lot of times when, and this is not just for this specific collection I was speaking with, but a lot of times when
Yeah.
collections come to me, I want them to have just a lot more money than they would usually have,
Okay.
because now they get to actually play, like the big boys.
Okay.
And it's really funny. Like someone from a program the other day, they were saying, they asked these VCs, and they're like, "What is it that makes, what do you look for when you pick projects that they do
Hmm.
so well? Like, how do you pick them?"
Yeah, that's a good question.
And they
Yeah.
said, "What's that?"
No, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt, but I just meant that's actually a really good question that they're asking the VCs, because I think that I think that really is important.
Yeah, of course. And there's one VC that I'm actually vetting projects for them. So there's some criteria I have, but I found the answer that they gave was very interesting. It's a different VC that I don't work with. They said whatever projects that we put a lot of money to, those are gonna be the ones that are the best. There are no best projects that come to us. We make them the best because we put just so much money behind them, and they get to
Oh,
actually
really?
deliver, and they get to do a lot of things that they weren't able to previously, which is very interesting, right? So, and I'm starting to see a lot of that, even let's say Bored Apes, the level of production, for example, that they did with Ape Fest, let's say Doodles, the parties that they've done, and some of these projects that never even sold out, like they do seven-figure parties, and you're like, how is that even possible? They have
Yeah.
lasers and really cool celebrities and just
Right.
people coming
Yeah.
in, and it's like, this is for NFT projects that hasn't even sold out. Like, how is this even possible? And so
Yeah.
we're going that direction, right? So where you gotta have a lot of resources to be able to play hard. And so,
Okay.
for one specific projects, for example, one of the things we're doing is we set the mint price as 4 ETH, which has never been done in the history of
For
NFTs.
ETH. The start.
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah.
to
Okay.
start, right?
All right.
And so the exclusivity, the level of delivery that we can do, and then the other thing is like we also like bought everything prior to even selling out. So literally, we
Yeah.
upfronted the cost for everything that we want to deliver. There's not, so we don't need to sell out. We don't need even people to give us the money. But if they sell out, it will be somewhere around $30 million, which is for a sellout of a collection, that's also not very common. That's actually pretty uncommon
Oh. Okay.
for
Wow.
the
Okay.
first sellout. Yeah,
Wow. Okay. No, no, wow. Okay. I'm just trying to wrap this idea up because not, but you do realize like not many people do get what you're saying, right? I mean, it's kind of like a whole nother level. So, but that is interesting. You mentioned about like some of the projects, like the VCs, they're putting a lot of money in, but I also feel like I don't know, maybe please just correct me if I'm wrong, like because I don't think it's just the money side too, but sometimes you also got to have some creative talent as well, right? Like something like there has to be some sort of like a wow factor to really get people's attention, right?
100%. So I think there's definitely different components, right, into a projects being really good. So like art has to be world class. The story has to be world class. Like the narrative and the story is very important. Like one of the projects, like example for people who want to understand the narrative, and like the value plays, Goblin Town, for example. They came in and they just said, hey, like we as an NFT collection, the narrative was we don't want to have that Discord grind. We don't want to have that, roadmaps and all these complicated things. We don't want to have like any promises. Our art is also maybe not that amazing, but this is a project that we are, and we're standing by it. And so it's very interesting in a market where there was just so much focus and conversations about like how do we make it like so that our project has the best utility. They came out and said
Hmm.
like we're gonna have no utility. How's that? And then that just like shocked the market, and they said, hey, like we're gonna do it for free, no utility, let's go. And that obviously shocked the market. So it's an anomaly, right? Not everyone can not do the same thing and make it work.
Yeah. Right.
But
Yeah.
I think the concept of, and obviously the concept of like saying, like actually telling people, saying, hey, like we're gonna have no utility. It's its own narrative, right? So the narrative is very
Hmm.
important. This story is very important.
Okay.
Why
Yeah.
you got into NFTs, why you're NFT, or why you even doing these utility, but also like what does it look like? So even like for example, for people who want to understand that, for different projects, even if they hear like the founder of like not the founder, but I guess CEO of the Yoga Labs talking about the origin story of Bored Apes, thinking about, hey, there were these like basically apes that they were at like a dive bar, and then, oh, it's no, it's actually a yacht, and then it's just like really bored, and the concept, just like painting that picture for people, and
Yeah.
then seeing like and what kind of people could just really relate and just say, hey, like that's just like our life, like that's really cool, like we want to be like
Hmm.
that. So I think that's a really big, very crucial factor, in projects just doing well, just the story
Yeah.
and like people being able to relate. And then the other side of things is onboarding. So
Hmm.
right now,
Right.
obviously, we have the Web3 space where a lot of people in the Web3 space, they want to, look for amazing projects, and very skeptic, very jaded. But then we've got
Yeah.
many, many more people in the Web2 space that don't know, they don't even know it's a bear market. They don't even know, there's anything
Hmm.
happening with cryptos, right? They don't even
Yeah.
understand
Yeah.
what
True.
Luna is. They don't know. Um, they just come in, they're fresh, and they're like, hey, I just saw some NFT projects. Maybe I just heard about Bored Apes. Maybe I heard about, like, let's say, CryptoPunks. And then
Hmm.
I want to get in. Like, how do I do that? Right. So there's that person that wants to make a transition from Web 2 to Web 3. So projects now that they able to onboard people like that really well, they're also going to be very successful. And so some examples of that, for example, for projects right now, one of the things we do, we use companies like minted.com or what's another one? Or MoonPay. Those are the two companies where they let people from the Web2 space, they actually buy NFTs with credit cards, right? So that's like a
Right.
big, that's a really big jump from like not being able to onboard people to just like make it actually easy for to buy, to just buy NFTs. There's a large company, it's called Staler in Romania. I consulted their founder, and what they've done is they raised about like $8 million, and what they provide is like beauty services for females. And what we know, for example, in the NFT space, again, just again talking about onboarding, 8 out of 10 NFT holders are males. So you would think if you want to do NFT projects, you really got to target males because that's majority of people. But what
Right.
they've done is they actually went after females specifically. So their product is beauty services for females, and they were
Yeah.
doing that as in a Web 2 space. And they have lots of providers all around Romania. But then they realized they're like, okay, what if we created an 8,000 collection, for example? And I don't know how they've done, by the way. This is just like a recent thing they've done, but
Okay.
just as an example, it's just like a very interesting concept for a company to get in. So they had like 8,000 collection size. Obviously, just all females. I'm gonna take it, and then what that does is like like these females, they go do their hair, do their nails anyways, in the Web 2 space. Like that's just
Yeah.
something they do. And then the company, once they've basically bought any of their services, they tell them, hey, if you want to get some additional discounts, this VIP thing you can be part of, which is actually the NFT. And not only you get discounts, but also you get to um, you get to actually come to some of our events. And then also this would be
Right.
an investment. So all this money that you're investing, well, I guess is spending on let's say nails, hair, different
Right.
things. Later on, it could be an asset for you. And so it's really interesting because now they can actually onboard Web 2 people, don't know anything about NFTs, to get into
Yeah.
NFTs just because there's a really good reasons to. And so that's the concept of onboarding. Like companies or projects that they understand onboarding, they're going to be very successful now because we have way more people in the Web 2, and they're not jaded. They're not
Yeah.
skeptical. And so there's the art, there's the story, the narrative, the onboarding, and what was previously true also is just building communities. So those are some of the important things. Oh, and of course the utility as well. So those are some of
Sure.
the
Yeah.
important factors for a project to do well.
No, yeah, no, yeah, that's no, actually that's really cool. Like how you summarize. I think those are really good points for the next projects that can actually beat the boat yacht club. And I was thinking what was really important. What you said is like the mindset. Like if you have that mindset that hey, we can't beat boat apes, then it's not going to happen. So like you gotta like really expand your mind and also so stretch yourself to be like hey, you know what, like we can do something about it, and it's not a zero sum game. So and I also love the fact that you brought up that project with the targeting women. Basically this that the NFT they're getting, it is a sort of like a membership club, but it's like membership club on steroids, really. you know so I think maybe, oh, who knows, because I know you know very well there's some companies or some corporates, they are coming up with the NFT collection, but I don't see many companies, or maybe few companies, they have a NFT strategy. So is that something that you see, or do you see like
Yeah, I have had several companies come to me, actually public companies too, that they want to roll out
Okay.
NFTs, and I actually to be honest, I actually think they're gonna, if they do it right, they're gonna do better than the Web3 people wanting to launch a project. Reason
Sure.
for that
Yeah.
is in the in this space that we're in this the sentiment of the market is like, okay, who has the best utility? Obviously, these companies have the best utilities. They've been selling these for years,
Yeah.
selling whatever benefits they're providing to people for
Sure.
years without even having anything to do with NFTs. So now, if they actually roll out NFTs to as part of delivering on these, I guess, utilities, now it's very different to what we've done previously, which was, we had the art, we had developers and everyone, and then we would say, okay, we have all this project, we have all this community. Now we have to come up with some utilities, right? And then we're trying to force some, like for example, a staking DAO, some play
Yeah.
to earn game into a project, just so we have a utility, and so people don't basically roast us on tourist spaces and just say you have nothing, right?
Yeah.
So it's very different where you go in that mindset of just like trying to build a utility versus like you already had a utility and you've been selling it. So this is a product that people have been buying, and then now you're
Yeah.
like, hey, I want to just put an NFT next to it.
Yeah, when you talked about like public companies, this idea came to my mind about say like event companies. Like say for example, I come up with uh, like like an event in October, all right, or November or something, and there's going to be some sort of like a crypto event. And actually, you know what? If you want to attend this event, you got to buy this NFT, and there's these different levels of NFTs. I mean, I don't know. I could see that thing. I could see something like that could happen. So I don't know. I know suddenly I'm like, hey, wait, I got this business idea. Let me throw it to you and see. Does it make sense, or is this like the dumbest idea?
No, I think it's actually a really cool idea. And so when Gary Vee did his event, obviously you had to be I believe, VFriends holder. I have a VFriend myself, to be able to actually attend his event. And so they
Oh,
would
the one
basically
in
airdrop,
Minneapolis, right?
yeah, and they would
Okay,
airdrop the
gotcha.
tickets to you. So but the cool thing about that is like those tickets prices actually went up. So you would think the NFT tickets price would just stay as is, or like it would actually go down once the event is over. But
Yeah.
actually it went up. So now the ticket that you bought became an asset. And so that's something that's
Wow.
just very new in this, right? So then made people think, they're like, huh, okay. So then what if we just actually do this and just create our events and just like create NFTs around it? Because then what if this could actually become its own like source of revenue, just become an asset? It could be a benefit to the attendees of the events. So that definitely started that conversation around. It's like, okay, so there's like a new concept we just never thought about. It's like you would never think a ticket would have value after the event. You would
Yeah,
think
yeah.
just, just throw it in the garbage. Like,
Yeah, yeah. Look, I'm sorry, sorry. I have to go, but sorry, I just want to take one step back
yeah,
because that's fascinating. You said that like the value of that ticket, even the event is over, has gone up. Could you kind of could you kind of share the reason why it went up? Like, what was driving that? Like,
yeah, 100%. So, I mean, partly it's because that was one of the, if it wasn't the first, definitely one of the early ones that they used NFTs to hold to sell those tickets. And so the concept in the NFT, like there are a lot of things happening right now in the NFTs with board apes and like a lot of collections. There's a lot of conversations around lots of different NFTs and conspiracies, and so everything in the NFTs that's the first becomes very valuable. So there's definitely that just being the
okay,
first is always very valuable. But also, I think the holders themselves, they knew, they were very savvy. Well, I guess not very savvy, but maybe more savvy than a typical, let's say, Web3 person. So they
Gotcha.
knew that they can, if they just start actually like holding it and just like, and then getting like other values from just holding that ticket, that this
Hmm.
could become an asset for them. So it kind of like as a whole, people wanted that to happen, and then I believe just the timing was right as well, because they were just like so early into doing this. So I think that did it. Since then, I haven't seen anyone else attempting to do this, to actually sell tickets with NFTs, and like I guess to that level at least, not to my knowledge. But I would be interested to see if someone else did it and they were able to pull the same thing. Like the price will go up, and that's just like a very interesting thing. Like in the event industry, it's just no one I don't think ever thought about it. Just say, hey, like tickets could be valuable things. It's like, okay, that maybe NFTs introduction to tickets could make it very simple for the whole concept of, like, for example, sporting tickets, where there are like
Yeah.
counterfeit versions of it, and with NFTs you can solve that. But no one thought it could be just be an asset on its own. So I think we're going to
Yeah.
see companies trying that out, and just I mean, there's a lot of event companies out there, and there are a lot of events happening in the Web3 space right now. So I'm sure someone else is going to try and just see if it was just an anomaly, or this could happen again. And if it could, then that just opens up something completely new in the event industry.
Yeah, no, sorry, I'm actually really fascinated by this. Like, yeah, because I'm trying to like, no, it's just that the idea of, the tickets. I mean, like, have it as an NFT. It's a proof. Like, hey, you bought this ticket, and you can't really fake it. But I think which can be solved even, I guess, without blockchain or whatever. Um, but the idea of a ticket becoming an asset, honestly, I would love for a ticket to become an asset in the future. Um, I think that sounds really promising for me, though. I don't know why I'm so excited about that. Like, I think my little business mind is like, wait a minute, I can do something with this. Like, because the thing is, I haven't seen this happen here in Dubai yet. But who knows? There might be somebody from Canada coming to Dubai, and you know what? I think I can make this thing happen. I'm sure.
That's a very interesting concept, you're saying that, because I thought about this a lot, where I have seen, this is very interesting. It's only, I think, I don't know how many people think about this concept, but there's been a lot of times where people, like, let's say company, for example, let's just take like a company like Fiverr, for example. It's in
Yeah.
Israel. It's headquartered in Israel, and I would say a lot of like countries, like, US, Canada, even like European countries, they're very familiar with it, right? But
Hmm.
then all of a sudden, if you take that concept of Fiverr, and then you take it to some third world country that no one knows much about the concept of Fiverr, right?
Yeah.
Then you actually have, like, you may have as much power as the concept of Fiverr in like in the countries that it's been launched to. Meaning, even though it's not a new idea, but because the location that you're launching it to
Hmm.
is not used to it, they don't know it. Now you just took a concept that was working somewhere, you took it somewhere else that doesn't know about it, and then now you become successful again. So I've actually seen that in a third world country, where
Right.
a company that's just very similar to Fiverr, like, it came after Fiverr, and there are a lot of similarities with it. But then that they're doing well because, like, they knew they would do well. They're like,
Yeah.
look, like, just obviously they done so well with all these countries, but like, what if we actually made it like in a different language, in a
Sure.
different
Yeah.
kind of like modify it to just fit the demographic of their own country. So the concept of like taking something from like one country and then take it to another country even, and make that work, that's something I've just been really fascinated about because I think people don't get to travel as much to even see these things.
Yeah,
People
true.
just typically stuck in their own ways and just like, I travel so many like times a year where like I get to see things in like different mindset, but like I think some people completely miss that they're like they just see everything around them, but they completely miss like, hey, there could be like a lot of things happening, even whether it be NFT or just Web2, happening in outside their own country, that could be like applicable to their country in a completely different way, but also
Mhm.
like maybe equally successful or even more so, than they've done it before.
Yeah, no, no, but I like what you said. I'm just like just trying to see like, it's a good thing that you're coming to Dubai, and there's a lot of things happening over here. So so far this idea of using NFTs as a ticket. See, thing is that when you gave the example of Gary V, right? The event in Minneapolis. Look, I didn't even know that to enter the event you got to buy his NFTs as a ticket. That was news to me. So I think some of the points that you mentioned about the next the board ape, the board ape killer, or whatever you want to call it, but and also with the idea of using NFTs as a ticket, I think I do see some promise, and I do see a lot of new people will be open to that idea. They want to. I think it's also much more easier to digest, really, than compared to your typical crypto protocols and stuff. And already it's just much more easier to buy NFTs using your Web2, like your credit cards, your Mastercard, Visa, or some other payment system. I think we could see a much better adoption. Uh,
Hmm.
I guess after this, after the bear market. I mean, that's kind of like my economic points of view. Like, is there anything? Do you have any uh, points of view you want to share on this?
Yeah, honestly, if anything, like a lot of people's just like very sad about.
Sorry, my bad.
It's
Go
good,
ahead.
right?
My
Yeah, so
bad.
a lot of people like getting sad about saying like, oh, like NFT's gone down and everything, but like people don't realize like maybe even 2017, sorry, actually 2000, when was this, 2000, and I believe it was 2017 for crypto was like really bad, like all of a
Yeah.
sudden, and then there's then like look what happened like 2021, and then like maybe at like November, I think it reached like, for example, Bitcoin reaches like, well, almost 60K. So the people just don't maybe sometimes have like enough knowledge of like history of like how things go down and go back up,
Oh, sure.
and so there's that, and there's also like, if anything, this just made the market a lot better, and so
Yeah.
a lot of projects right now, if they don't die, and if they get these investors, VCs, there are a lot of family offices that they're looking to invest in cryptos and NFTs, so if they get money from them, or they just come up with innovative ways generate revenue outside their own NFT collections or selling out their
Hmm.
NFT collections, and they stay and just build. Um, this is like just probably most exciting time for NFTs, if anything. Like now we're
Yeah.
just like actually entering a level where um, people like just don't do just really weird like cash grab projects. They do actually
Yeah.
like good things, and like we're just gonna grow,
Hmm.
and innovate, and it's, to me, that's just exciting. It's actually like we're
Hmm.
going in a direction that we should be going toward.
Yeah. I'm excited. I am excited about that. Um, I wanted to bring up, venture capital, the VCs again. For selfish, for my selfish reason, I want to bring this this question to you. Um, like, because I'm trying to work on a kind of a crazy idea, not by myself. I'm trying to get other crazy people too, or actually people smarter than me to help me out with this. All right. Hopefully, I might also try to get you to the dark side too. So actually the question is that because I'm familiar with VCs. They're investing in like crypto projects or I guess Web3 projects. But when it comes to NFTs, I know there are NFT projects out there, and there's some good ones too. But these NFT projects too, they're looking for good VCs. So just for my knowledge, but I'm sure there'll be other crypto project and NFT projects out there. You know, if you are a VC, I mean, you've been in their shoes in some form or the other. Like, kind of give us like kind of like a 5 or like a 10-minute pitch about what a VC like myself or whoever is looking into NFT projects.
Yeah, so this is very interesting. At the beginning, the VCs started just, well, I mean, rightfully so. They started just like putting money into every single project that they
Okay.
just came to them. As long as you had a deck and you just seem to have a like reasonable idea of what you're gonna do, they had
Okay.
very little knowledge of like what they can do, and
Hmm.
so they a lot of times. And by the way, like now we're gonna see like companies becoming third party researchers for VCs, which is kind of new. Like I've already seen one company that
Yeah,
they
that's new
started
to me
doing this
though.
for like family offices. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, and so like they're actually gonna do the research, as far as and provide data to family offices, because family offices they don't know. Like I mean, even people in the NFT world they don't know what NFTs to go buy. So now imagine like someone who's not in the NFT world, like what on earth do they know? And so
Yeah.
that's so initially they just started like basically putting money into things, and then I think sometimes they even doubled down on like some projects like really crazy, and that actually made them sell out, and that actually made them successful just purely by just like there've been projects where it's controversial, but like there've been projects where like VCs just came in and just like basically aped in, bought lots of NFTs, and then that's how those projects sold out. Like that's literally how they sold out, and that actually created this mindset. Again, I'm not saying it's proper or not proper, like just taking the mentality, I guess taking the morality out of it for the sake of discussion. But there's been a lot of like, for example, like Twitter spaces, people who are sitting on Twitter spaces, sometimes these people are paid to sit on Twitter spaces. On Discord, you see people are paid to actually have conversations. You see, like for example, projects is starting their mint process, and all of a sudden you see 1,000 NFTs are bought, is coming from some like large investor that is actually going into invest in this project as like maybe VC or just like a whale. And so there's a lot of that they've done, and it's kind of
Yeah.
like, well, is it okay? Like, is it should we do this? Because then, what if someone doesn't have a VC? Like, how do they compete with you? It's just like how like in bodybuilding, right? So like people like take steroids, and then you're
Sure.
like,
Yeah.
well, okay, so if I don't take the steroids, like I can't even compete with these people. Like, what am I gonna
Right.
do?
Hmm.
And so that's like the I guess the dark side of people with money coming into this. And
Yeah.
initially they didn't know better, so like they did a lot of that. And to this day they still do. Like I'm very familiar with lots of projects they bought NFTs from themselves, they sold out, and people don't know. Oh, some people do, but like majority of their holders maybe they don't even know that, and they're okay. They're
Wow.
like okay,
Yeah.
delivering on their promises, so that's
Hmm.
okay. But so that's the I think that's the context of like where Reese's came in. And then now some of them they started looking for experts in the industry, because we also didn't have experts. Like that was another problem. Like
Hmm.
maybe a few
Sure.
years
Yeah.
back we didn't have a lot of experts. Now maybe we have some more, right? We still don't have
Okay.
like a lot of books, we still don't have a lot of courses. um,
True.
I'm 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 maybe the only one actually has like a mastermind slash with like course, I guess component
Yeah.
in selling out NFTs. Like there's not anyone else doing
Yeah.
it, and so we're still in that space where it's like it's actually pretty new to have expertise. But so then now a lot of VCs that they've gone in the direction of okay, looking for experts. Like who's the experts? Like just collect all of these people, whether it be in
Yeah.
marketing, development, let's say arts, like different areas, and just like making when they invest in projects, they don't just want to give them money. They want to bring the marketing, they want to bring the development, the small
Hmm.
contracts like that are like functional, they don't get hacked, so on and so forth. And so that's the direction they've gone. And then now I actually myself like partner up with a VC where I vet the projects for them. So the
All
way
right.
I do this is I actually go on and just like research the project, look at the team members, just see like, okay, do they have any background in doing anything like even remotely close to what they're gonna deliver, right? Let's say if they're gonna like take people to space, like have they even like gotten on an airplane before, like you know what I mean? So like it's
Yeah,
like how close
yeah.
are they to like what they're gonna like deliver.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so that's the concept, right? So like, okay, just researching, I think research is like a really big deal. And then what I look for for these VCs is, okay, as far as marketing and like how they're building the projects, are they
Hmm.
actually doing the right things? Because if they're not gonna sell out, they're not gonna deliver, and they're
Right,
practically going
right.
to rug pull people, or they're just gonna wipe out and just say, hey, sorry guys, refund everyone's like I guess purchases, and we're gonna go, like we're just gonna go on our way back to our Web2 stuff. So then the role that I play is really just looking over like all the indicators, so, the story, the community, like how many people, like what's the engagement,
Hmm.
the people on their team, let's say what the art is like, sitting on like tourist spaces that they hold and just like listening to people. Are people saying like the art is like amazing, or are people just saying, oh, the art is good too? Like what is the sentiment that they have? And then the utilities, like can they deliver, and then do they have utilities that are just like a copy of like other projects? Because at some point, if you look at like so many projects, you start to see be like, okay, obviously these new projects, they just like copied everything from like what's in the
Hmm.
market. So you know
Yeah.
what's in the market, right? So there's that. And then and they actually had some successful like the investments. They 2x to all the way like to 10x in some projects, and
Nice.
that's really interesting. So now people in my program, actually yesterday they came up with this new idea. They said, um, they created a pitch for a bunch of them actually creating a project together. So in other words, bunch of brands creating an NFT together. So now they have like way more money, way more resources, and then they want a
Gotcha.
VC to back them up as well. And so I think that's also interesting. So like there's gonna be a lot of cool things happening with VCs getting into this, and
Hmm.
they're just gonna, I guess, the
Yeah.
circulations of the money into the Web3 space is just gonna make this space a lot better. Just people have like a lot more power to deliver on cool things,
Hmm.
but that's also just gonna
Yeah.
be frivolous spending too. Like the 7-figure
Oh,
parties and
that's
stuff.
oh, I think when it comes to NFTs, frivolous spending is going to take place. I think quite more often than we realize.
Yeah.
Yeah, but man, I wish I could keep you more longer, but we gotta go. But I'll tell you what, definitely gonna bring you back again. Uh, I know you gotta move, you got a lot of things on your plate, but I'm so appreciative of you taking the time to come on the XT Cast, and I definitely want to have more conversations on NFTs. Because one thing you pointed out that in terms of people who are experts on NFTs, I did try to look into other people. Uh, you're the only one who I who I can actually find like real data, real like how do you say connections and um, kind of better the process. So I will also challenge my XT.com community. Hey, check this guy out and see if he's for real or not. Because um, unfortunately in the NFT space, it is a wild space. There's so much going on, and trying to see what other people are doing, you tend to you really find out later that they don't really have much to back up. So I'm glad that I get to connect with you, and definitely um, I, I think we could definitely do another episode. I don't know. Let's see your schedule. I know you gotta like move and stuff, but I'm one thing for sure excited that you're coming to Dubai in October, right? Is that correct?
Yeah, I'm excited too. It's just very exciting. So this is like part of actually doing this. Like I just moved out of my place to some new place, and then I'm gonna give this place to my dad practically, and then I
Lucky dad,
just
man.
like basically just cleaning up all the things I need to do to be able to just move to Dubai. So
All right, man. Hey, for sure. But I'll tell you,
it's exciting.
yeah, yeah. I'll tell you what, man. When it comes to NFTs and stuff, Dubai is happening, and definitely will, keep you posted, and also XT.com community. We got some interesting plans coming up, so you'll be the first to know. All right, you check out our socials, like, subscribe, follow XT.com, and also, hey, check out Arvin Khamseh. Yeah, he's really interesting guy. So he has a lot to offer, and man, I just love the way you give so much of value, and trying to educate people when it comes to NFTs and how it can be so comprehensive and can really change the game in many ways, and love your thought leadership in the space. So definitely we need this, especially here in Dubai. It is an open field, so I would love for you to not only just talk about NFTs but maybe also raise new NFT leaders in the space. I think that's my point of view. I think you could really raise a whole bar of leadership in this space too. That's my belief, man.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I actually have like bunch of bunch of agencies in my program that they also want to like help with the marketing of a lot of projects. So they're learning how to do it and just like break into this space. They come from the Web2
Okay.
industry. They don't know the Web3 industry as much, but they're just learning, and I'm actually excited for them. Like I don't.
Hmm.
There's so many projects out there. There are about 100,000 projects on Ethereum blockchain alone. So there's so many projects. I can't take on all of them, and so like I want agencies. I want even freelancers to just do what I do as well. Like, and I want to like show them everything I know. And I've already been doing that. It's through my Sold Out NFTs program, and
Hmm.
so and also like Twitter Spaces. Like I go on, people ask me all sorts of questions. I answer all their questions. Like I don't hold back.
Nice.
So if anyone wanted to find me, they can on Arvin K NFT. That is ARVIN K NFT. They can just find me on Twitter. That's where I'm most responsive. I go on lots of Twitter Spaces, maybe too many times, maybe more so than I should be. And then also sold.nfts.io. So that's SOLD NFTS.io.
Hmm.
I publish case studies and also publish anything that I'm doing, any events that I'm going to, if people
Nice.
want to
I like
join and
that.
meet up in real life. And so yeah, they can find me there too.
Awesome. Hey, first of all, XE.com fam, definitely I'll share his links and whatever info you need from him in the description below. But you got to like, subscribe, follow not only just XE.com, but also Arvin too, because definitely you're going to see him way more frequent. Because we definitely need more thought leadership, and that's the goal with XECast, is to really show you how crypto and blockchain based solutions are going to revolutionize the way we use the internet, information, money, and definitely NFTs has a place. So anyways, we gotta go. We got big things to happen. And also, Arvin, just want to let you know today is my birthday too, so gotta go and celebrate, man.
Happy
So
birthday!
thank you, so
Happy
appreciate it.
birthday! What
I
are you
am
doing for your birthday?
hey, just food, drinks, and yeah, just reflect on my mistakes and reflect
That's
on the positive future, man. So that's the best I can do, man.
that's so cool. That's
Anyways,
so
hey,
cool.
we gotta
Well,
go.
happy
All right,
birthday!
so
Hope you enjoy.
thank you, Arvin. Yeah. So, anyways, fam, we gotta go. Y'all be good. Y'all be safe, and we will talk to you soon. Bye for now.